Hey everybody, it's Tim with Broken Dice bringing you another little update on my solo wargaming project number 2. This is turn 3 of my Archaic Greeks versus my Early Archaemenid Persians. 2,500 points using Clash of Empire rules. Okay, everybody, let's just take a quick look at how things ended up at the end of turn 2. This is kind of a view from the Persian side of the table. You can see that one unit of the skirmishers for the Greeks is running, and not much else happened last turn except for the Persian flanking force did arrive. From the Greek perspective, see kind of more of an idea of what the distances are, that what they're looking at. On the would be the Greek left or the Persian right. The light cavalry had run off the Greek cavalry. And over here you can see the arrival of finally the arrival of the Persian flanking force. And one more look here. Oh, another look there. All right, let's get into this. The Persian orders phase of turn 3. Okay, the cards were dealt, as I said last turn, to give the Persians the advantage from their strategy rating. I decided to use a die 3 to determine what the number of cards were they were going to get, to determine which side went first. They got 3, and obviously all 3 of their cards individually would have beat the Greek card. So the Persians will get the first phase of turn 3. Okay, here we got another look. Another look over here. Okay, the cards have come up. On the right flank, which is really not going to make that much of a difference what that little unit of cavalry does at this particular moment in the game. They'll be going almost last in the movement, but it will make very little difference. Most of the infantry units at the bottom of your screen here, they're going to hold their position and fire on those javelineers of the Greeks. And over here, you can see the cards. Now the unit that got the top card was our Iranian spearmen, moving out sorry about that, to hold up the Greek right. The idea behind this move is to engage that Greek phalanx, hold it in its place while the guard cavalry and the guard infantry cross the river and deliver a finishing blow. All right, in the movement, the Iranians were not able to reach the Greeks, so they were just able only to march. Because I looked at it and I kept thinking, that looks awfully far because they've only got like a 10-centimeter move, so I was thinking they were a little outside, and they were. So they got within probably 2 centimeters of the unit and had to stop because it wasn't a charge. You see where the guard cavalry and the guard infantry made it to the ford. The guard cavalry are at the ford, and the guard infantry are at the top, just to the left of the Persian cavalry, and they're going to have to make they're going to have to get their feet wet crossing the ford where they're not at the ford actually. So it may take them a turn or two just to get across. And because they had to march to get to that spot, they will not be able to shoot later in the turn. The Persian light cavalry did a what's termed in the Clash of Empires as a sharp turn, which changes the facing of your unit. And then they did one normal move, which open order cavalry can do. They can do those two maneuvers without having to take a discipline test. Now, what happens though in this is that because they've had that counts as two moves, they won't be able to shoot, and two, they don't have a large enough frontage to declare any sort of a charge. So even in their next phase, they're going to have to do some reorganization and stuff like that. Well, reorganization at the end of their their turn, I should say, of their phase of turn 3. Sorry. Persian shooting phase of turn 3. The Sparabar and the Iranian archers shoot at the Greek javelin men, causing them to break and flee. They did like 6 wounds. I'm doing my Greeks a poor service, or either a unit that I've rolled for in this solo war game for any sort of morale test. I seem to roll 10s, 11s, and 12s for them, so they continue to run off the board. But at least they're still on the table and they have a chance to rally. But at least they're on, But they did break and flee. So both Greek skirmishing infantry are fleeing, and this red marker over here by the Persian cavalry showed that they cannot shoot this turn. Over on the left, the Persian cavalry shoot at the Greek levy hoplites. They do 1 wound, in the guard infantry, as I said earlier, march to the river, but because they march, they cannot shoot this turn. Now that brings us to the end of the Persian phase of turn 3 and the start of the Greek phase of turn 3. The orders phase. As you can see here, the markers indicate all the phalanxes are going to continue to move forward, and since there's no one in front of them to impede their progress, they'll have an easy time of just moving forward. And the fleeing units rally, and which is good for the Greeks, because at least they have something that could act as a speed bump for that cavalry unit that has nothing in front of it. The only good thing I want to mention one thing. The only good thing about having them on the left side of the Greek line is that the Greek phalanxes get to use their entire armor save. If they were on the other side shooting, then they would be their armor save would be reduced by 1. Okay, on the Greek right, the levy hoplites obviously have been alerted to the presence of the flanking force. They're going to move towards the ford to try to keep the cavalry in check, and the other citizen hoplite unit is going to charge the Persian Iranian spearmen. Combat phase. We see here that the levies have moved their movement towards the ford to try to keep the cavalry from crossing, and the citizen hoplites have charged in and have done a whopping, I think they did 4 wounds this turn to the Iranian spearmen. The Iranian spearmen fail their morale test and they flee. And since, obviously, because they are in phalanx formation, they cannot pursue the fleeing Iranian spearmen. Well, that brings us to the end of the Greek phase of turn 3 and the end of turn 3. I hope everybody's enjoyed this. I've had a good time looking at it. There are some things I'm going to mention in my final review of the game, and some of the things I like and some of the things I don't. I'll probably go into a little bit more detail. But so far, it's been kind of fun. Do miss getting together with the guys. I know all of you do too. Rolling our dice, talk a little smack. But someday we'll be able to get back to it and roll some dice and get these miniatures we've been working on the table. For everybody that's stuck in there with me, I appreciate it. I really do. If you got any comments, leave them down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Stay in touch. Stay in contact. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. If you want to be a little, if you got some real criticisms and some things you want to think I should work on and you know, change things up a little bit, let me know. It's all right. It's why we do this, to stay in contact, to communicate. I mean, to me, this is fun. This is a way to stay in contact with everybody. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I hope all your projects are going well. I hope everyone stays safe. And I will see you next time.